Kia ora, this is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor as well as education advisor. For those of you who are new to my channel and my videos, my team and I, we specialize in creating pathways for quality people from different parts of the world to come to New Zealand and become migrants of this country. Here in New Zealand, we have a shortage of skilled manpower, so we're trying to attract good talent from different parts of the world. And so my company, AJV Services, and my wonderful team, that's the work we do, and we assist a lot of people to come into New Zealand and make this your future home. Now, we specialize in helping people who can either qualify directly to apply for a resident visa, or if you don't, then we assist people to come here to study, and then hopefully they will go on with our guidance and our onshore support to be able to find related employment and get the required number of points to be able to make it to that point where you will get your residency in New Zealand. Now, we operate a very interactive group on Facebook called NZ Options, where we have a lot of questions and answers pertaining to New Zealand. And in the recent past, quite a lot of prospective students have been asking us the question, hey, if I do a 2 years master's, does it mean that I automatically get a resident visa? Or if I'm not doing a 2 years master's, but instead I'm doing a 1.5 years master's, does that mean that I will not get a resident visa? So these are some of the questions that are cropping up because sometimes when I'm posting some of my answers, I mentioned that there are two important criteria to be met to get a resident visa. And first criteria is that you need to have skilled employment here in New Zealand, and second criteria is that you should have completed a master's or a PhD in New Zealand and should have studied at least for 2 years. Now, if you don't have either one of these criteria, but if you're still getting the 160 points, which is the current selection point, you would still be eligible to get something called the skilled migrant category job search visa. And that job search visa is essentially the time period during which you should be able to come into New Zealand and find yourself employment and thus fulfill the first criteria, which is to get skilled employment in New Zealand. So coming back to the masters, just doing a 2 years masters doesn't mean automatically that you guys are going to get a resident visa in New Zealand. It is one of the criteria to be met, or you should have skilled employment in New Zealand. So now let me take the example of a young student who is, let's say, 24 years of age, and he's got a bachelor's and he comes to New Zealand and he does a 2 years masters, but he does not have any prior work experience. Now, all that he will get at the end of doing that 2 years masters in New Zealand is in terms of points. He will only get 30 points for his age. He will get 70 points for his masters, and he will get an extra 15 points as bonus for having done that course in over a period of 2 years here in New Zealand. So for his masters, he's getting 70 plus 15 points bonus, which is 85 points, plus 30 points for his age, which brings it up to a total of 115 points. So that's pretty much what he is going to get. So he will still fall short of the 160 pass mark, which is the current pass mark. So the only way that a youngster can make it to the 160 point is to be able to pick up skilled employment in New Zealand, to pick up employment that is related to the course that he has completed. And when he picks up that employment, he'll get a minimum of 50 points. He might get more bonus points depending on if that employment is in the skill shortage area or not, or if it is inside Auckland or outside Auckland. If it's outside Auckland, there's a possibility he'll get bonus points. So as you can clearly see, this 24-year-old student who has come and done a 2 years master's is still not eligible to apply directly for a resident visa because he'll still not get those required number of points. So the 2 years master's in isolation is not going to get you to that point where you will be able to apply for a resident visa. And this could be quite a tricky piece of information that a lot of agents will manipulate and try and convince students and say, hey, look, go to New Zealand and study for 2 years, do a master's, and that's all you need to get a residency. And once you get on the plane, they will stop taking your phone calls. They will not respond to you, and and you pretty much will be stuck in a situation where you came with some other thought in your mind thinking, oh, but I'm going to come here for come and study in New Zealand for 2 years masters and automatically get my resident visa. It's simply not going to happen that way. So you need to be better equipped with better information, and that is why it's important to work with a company like AJV. We are present in New Zealand. I'm a licensed immigration advisor, and I have a very, very good, competent team around me. And between all of us, we will be able to keep guiding you at each step, because immigration processes, as I keep saying in all my videos, are not simple processes. They are complex legal processes, and you will require good information and good advice at each step of the way to be able to reach that coveted goal of getting residency in New Zealand. Now, if you're going to do a master's which is lesser than 2 years, doesn't matter. So if you've done a course for, let's say, a master's which lasted only for 1.5 years, you still get 70 points, and you get 10 bonus points because you studied here for 1 year, as against getting 15 points bonus if you have studied for 2 years. And so that's the only difference, is 5 points between studying for 2 years and studying for 1 year. But because you need to meet one of the two important criteria, which is either you need to have skilled employment, or that you should have studied in New Zealand for a master's or PhD for minimum 2 years. Your option now is, because you've completed a 1.5 year master's, simply go and find that relevant job, that skilled employment, and that will fulfill one of the criteria. So the bottom line, it still boils down into the skilled employment. So it is a very rare occasion where somebody will come into New Zealand who's already got all the other prior attributes like age and work experience in a particular industry, in a particular country, so on and so forth, where all that combined with the 2 years masters in New Zealand will give them that 160 points. To the best of my knowledge and to the best of my experience over the last few years, it's not a very common occurrence. Very few people will actually come and do a 2 years masters and then be able to directly be able to apply for a resident visa. So focus on getting into a good course, focus a course at the right level, which will give you the post-study work visa. In that post-study work visa period, focus on getting the right job, which is relevant to the course you have completed, whether it is level 7 or whether it was level 5 and 6 or a level 8 or a level 9, it doesn't matter. Focus on coming into a course which will give you the post-study work visa. In that post-study work visa period, focus on getting employment which is related to the course, and that is probably the best pathway towards getting to the required number of points to be able to make a skilled migrant category visa application. So hope I have clarified it once for all, that simply doing a 2 years masters in New Zealand is not an automatic ticket to a resident visa. So please watch out for false information from incompetent agents. Instead, rely on a good company like AJV, and my team and I will be delighted to work with good quality students and counsel you and advise you to the eventual goal of settling in New Zealand. Hope that helps, and as always, thanks for watching my videos. Please share it with your family and friends, and thanks for your continued support. Kia ora.